I have a couple copies of this worksheet that I'm going to show you. I have a clean version and then I have a demo version. This clean version is what I'll send you. It's empty and you can just add to it. On the demo one, it's just the same thing, but it has a bunch of fake numbers in it, so I can show you how things move. So basically, you're gonna these buttons you can use to get around, but also there's procedures here, step, and the tab that it applies to, and then some information about each tab. So you'll just go down the line and fill these out, and I'll show you in the demo how it looks when it's filled out. So that's the clean version. So here's the demo. Same administration tabs, buttons go around the same, etc. So I say you start here, and just off the top, like the stuff that you don't want to touch, it is locked down, so you can't touch it. But these purple cells are editable, and they change how things are calculated. This number is driven by the guest list, how many yeses there are. So I'll show you how those things interact. But so basically, we call this scenario versus planned. Planned is what you have currently, the number of yeses you have currently that I just showed you. And then the scenario is saying, okay, what if there's 250 guests, and then that's the number that will be used to calculate the per person calculations. But then there's per item, like, beer or wine is maybe $2 an item. So you'd just say, how many items do you think are going to get consumed? We'll just say 250 again. This guests per table is shared between the scenario and the planned. So we'll just say 8 guests per table, and that will calculate against the per table items. Like, if you had a centerpiece, you have 12 tables, it's $10 per table. That's where you'll take it takes your guests divided by guests per table, and then you have the number of tables that calculates down the line. But anyway, you'll just fill that out by the number of people at the tables, and then I know that there's different numbers of seats at tables and things, so I just kind of average it out and say that to get as close as you can. And then these planned items consumed are what you think that your actual guests will actually use. So we'll just say 200, whatever. So you can see that is changing all these numbers down the line for the scenario versus your planned. I have these variances calculated out here just kind of to call things to your attention. These variances just show you where those variances live. Like, your per person items is where your planned and your scenario is way different. And then if it were to be way lower, like let's just say you plan 50 guests, it's going to change everything to say how much, like where the money lies, which buckets it's in, and then it'll give you these scary red numbers if your actual is more than your scenario. So like right now we plan for 50 guests, so it's going to be way less based on the numbers we have. This down here, this payment progress, will be more directly related to over here. So let's just say in this column, our paid to date, we just say is 0. So this will change the full balance due. But also, if you come back here, the payment progress is 0. So you have your full balance remaining. If I undo that and come back, you'll see that the payment progress is updated based on how much you've paid versus how much you owe. Let's see. So down here, this mimics what's on the other tab, just so you can always see where you're at. A formula column is pink, and you can't change pink columns anyway, but just to say your purple columns are where you'll fill things out. So this is, again, these are just examples. So your original item, yeah, you could say your venue rental, which the category is venue and spaces. Subcategory is, it'll probably be different, but then you select from these options, and you can type things in. So ceremony or whatever, what have you. And then you put in your vendor. So this is where I was kind of talking about these change how the price is calculated. So if I say per person on a flat item, it's going to spike 2 million. So it's just calculating based on the guests, the number of guests, or the number of items that you and the number of items consumed that you entered on the other tab. So that's kind of how that works. Oh yeah, so then you'll put in the unit cost, which is whatever the total cost is, the total cost estimate. And then along the way, if you're paying deposits or things like that, you will add those numbers up in here. So let's say you've paid $9,000 to date. Well, let's just say you paid the full $12,000. It's gonna zero out your balance, paid in full, and then if we come back over here, you'll see that your progress bar filled up a little bit more. Let's see. So yeah, again, these buttons will help you get around. So the guest list. This is, again, what drives the... So let's just say we turn all these to no. So your pie charts are going to update immediately. And then if we go back to our summary, our planned guests change, our variances change, everything changes here, well, except for the payment progress. So if we undo that and go back, your 186 is back. And then these are just kind of generic little data points that you can keep track of, and we can add more, we can change whatever. But these just are the same as the RSVPs. Like if we change these to all both, your pie chart over here is going to change. If we do this is going to change. And same. So that is how all that works. If you need more categories and subcategories, you can add here. Again, where you can type is protected, or where you can't type is protected, so you don't have to worry about breaking anything. You just add your categories here, your subcategories here, and then actually I wanted this to be sorry, this shouldn't make the final cut, but here we are. Okay, so then you just add your categories or your subcategories, and then your color palette is back here, just showing you what we're using, where, what it means. So anyway, that is basically the process. If you have any questions or anything, obviously reach out to me. And I can send this demo version and the clean version, so you can mess around with them and just see how things work. And if anything is broken, please let me know. I'm trying to make sure everything's working, but it helps when other people take a look. So that is how all of that works.